Hello and welcome to the ActivTrades Weekly Outlook. A fairly quiet week, but a few decent reports to track for investors and traders all the same. The US will put out some important data in the lead up to the next FOMC meeting on the 20th of March, including inflation figures, PPIs, and retail sales, among others. Just this week, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said in the prepared comments for visits on Capitol Hill that policymakers are still concerned about the dangers posed by inflation and do not want to relax too rapidly. Powell suggested that decreasing rates too soon risks losing the fight against inflation and maybe having to increase rates further whilst waiting too long risks jeopardizing economic growth. He did hint that rate cuts will likely happen at some point later this year though. Let's see what impact the new data has. Switzerland's Consumer Confidence Index rose to -41 in January 2024, up from a revised -53 in October, but it's still much lower than the long-term average. The reading showed a reduction in consumers' fears about the strength of both their own financial circumstances and the general economy in the coming months compared to the prior quarter. A further improvement to around -36 is expected for February, when the results are released on Monday. Australia's NAB Business Confidence Index due on Tuesday increased to 1 in January from a corrected 0 in the previous month. The recovery was mostly driven by the manufacturing and construction sectors, while confidence in wholesale and retail declined. The February reading is expected to come in lower at around -1. UK employment figures will be updated for January on Tuesday. In the fourth quarter of 2023, the unemployment rate decreased to 3.8%, which was lower than the 4% rate in the previous 3 months and slightly below the market's expected rate of 4%. Meanwhile, the number of employed individuals increased by 72,000 in the 3 months leading up to December 2023. This was slightly below the market's anticipated rise of 73,000 and followed a revised gain of 108,000 in the previous period. US inflation data will be published on Tuesday for February. In January 2024, the US annual inflation rate decreased to 3.1% from 3.4% in December. January also saw the annual core consumer price inflation rate in the US remain constant from the previous month at 3.9%, surpassing market expectations of 3.7%. Major earnings releases to include Assicurazioni Generali and Maison du Monde. A range of data from the UK is due to be released on Wednesday, including GDP and manufacturing and industrial production figures, among others. Following a 0.2% gain in November and below predictions of a 0.2% decline, the British economy contracted 0.1% year-over-year in December 2023. The forecast for January is for a flat reading compared to December. Month-over-month, industrial and manufacturing production is expected to be down -0.3% each compared to the previous month. Major earnings releases to include Adidas and Dollar Tree. A variety of new data is due from the US on Thursday, including PPI figures and retail sales, among others. After falling 0.1% in December and missing estimates of 0.1%, US producer prices for final demand increased 0.3% month-over-month in January, the largest gain in 5 months. Meanwhile, although market forecasts were for a 0.1% gain, core producer prices in the US, which do not include food and energy expenses, increased 0.5% month-over-month in January, reversing a 0.1% decline the previous month. The new readings are expected to come in at around 0.3% and 0.2% growth respectively. Also in January, US retail sales decreased by 0.8% month-over-month, which was worse than the 0.1% decline predicted by the market and marked a reversal from December's downwardly revised 0.4% increase. Due mostly to the cold weather and the aftermath of the Christmas shopping season, retail sales have dropped to their lowest point since March of last year. However, forecasts are for a rise for February to around 0.3% growth. Major earnings releases to include Oracle, Dollar General, and Bellore. Housing starts in Canada fell 10% from a month earlier to 223,589 units in January, falling short of market forecasts of 235,000 units, according to the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. The new data for February due on Friday is expected to show a drop to around 220,000 units. The University of Michigan's Consumer Confidence Index for the US was lowered down to 76.9 in February, down from 79.6 in January. The new preliminary report due on Friday as well is expected to show a jump to around 78. That's all for this week. If you would like to read the full outlook, please visit the analysis section on our website. Happy trading!